Hello everyone, in this video we are going to make a weather application in Python. For this we are going to use the Open Weather Map API. So let's get started. At first I'll create a new Python file. I'll name it weather.py, and inside here we need three packages. We need Kinter for the UI, we need requests for the JSON files, and we need time to format some variables. So let's import them. Let's import Kinter as tk, then import requests, then import time. Alright, now let's define our UI. For this I'll write canvas equals tk.tk, and now let's set the geometry of our canvas. So let canvas.geometry, let's set it to 600 into 500. Now let's set a title for our canvas. So canvas.title, and I'll write weather app. Alright, now I'll define some fonts here. So the first one is, let's set the name to Poppins, and I'll set the font size to 15, and the font type will be bold. For the next one, T, I'll set the font name as it is, but now the font size will be 35 and the font type will be bold. Alright, now I'll define a text field here to get the city name from the user. So let text field equals tk.entry, and here I'll attach it to the canvas, and then I'll set the font size as T. Alright, now let's pack this entry. So I'll write text field dot pack, and let's give this a padding to the y coordinate to 20. Now I want this text field to remain focused, so when the user enters this application they can type the city name directly without moving the cursor. So for this I'll write text field dot focus, and now let's create two labels here to show the data. So the first one is the label 1 equals tk.label, and I'll attach it to the canvas, and then I'll set the font size equals T. Alright, now let's pack this label. So label 1 dot pack. Now let's create another one, label 2 equals tk dot label canvas, and this time the font will be F. Let's also pack this, label 2 dot pack. Alright, now we have to write canvas dot main loop. Alright, now we will define a function to get the data from the API. I'll write define get weather, and inside here at first we'll take the city name from the text field. So write a variable city equals text field dot get. Alright, now we need to work with the API. So for the API I'm going to use the Open Weather Map API. The link of this website will be given in the description. You have to just subscribe to this current weather data API and you will get a API like this. Now let's go to the API doc to see how it works. So as you can see, we have these methods to call the API. let's select this first one. I'll just copy this and paste it inside the postman. Send. Okay, we need to enter the API key and the city name here. Okay, so for the API key I'm going to use this one, but in your case make sure you use your own API. I'll paste it just here, and for the city name let's change it to London and hit send. So as you can see, we are getting some JSON files here. We are getting the coordinate, the latitude, longitude, the weather info, the state, the description, then the temperature information, the pressure, humidity, wind speed. We are getting also cloud info, some country name, sunrise sunset time, the time zone, ID, and also the name. So basically you can extract all the data from here, but in this case I'll work with few of them. So let's get started. Let's copy this URL here and paste it here to get the proper link. So you can also see the JSON files from here also, not using the postman. If you don't have the postman, you can work from the data shown here. So I'll just copy this link and I'll paste it inside here, inside a variable called API. I'll paste that, and to set the city name with this one, I'll just cut this into 2 pieces and I'll add the city variable here. So what is happening here is it's basically changing the city name with the city variable here, which we are getting from the text field. So now we can work further. At first we will call the JSON data using the requests. So I'll write JSON data equals requests dot get. Here I'll pass the API dot JSON. So now we can extract the weather info from the JSON data. So for this, let's see the JSON data here. At first I want to extract the weather condition, so which is inside the main under the weather. And as you can see, the weather has only one object under this, so we can access this by using the index 0. So let's do that. I'll write condition equals JSON data. Inside the weather, the index is 0 and it's inside the main. Alright, now we can access the temperature also. So for the temperature, if we check in the JSON data, it's under the main and inside the temp variable. So let's access this. Temp equals JSON data main temp, and as you can see, this data is in Kelvin format. I want to convert it into Celsius. So for this I have to minus 273.15 from the value. So I'll write minus 273.15. Alright, and as this data is in float format, I'll just convert it into integer. Int. That's it. Now similarly, we can also extract the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature from here. So I'll just copy this, paste it 2 more times. and let's set this to minimum temperature, and this is under the temp min, and this one the maximum temperature, which is under the temp max. Alright, now let's access the pressure and humidity also. So I'll just write pressure equals JSON data under the main inside pressure. Alright, and for the humidity, JSON data under main inside humidity. Alright, and for the next one I'll let's access the wind speed here, and then we'll go to the sunrise and sunset time. So the wind speed is under the wind inside the speed. Alright, wind equals JSON data. First one was wind and it was inside the speed. Alright, now let's access the sunrise and sunset time, which is under the sys and inside sunrise and sunset. And one thing we also have to take care about is this sunrise and sunset time is in seconds, so we have to convert this in the proper time, like the hour, minute and second. So let's do that. I'll define a variable sunrise equals time dot strf time, and I'll set the format to hour, minute, second in 12-hour format. So I'll write %i, then %m, then %minute. If you want to make this into 24-hour format, then you can easily replace this I with H. That will be yes. Alright, then I'll write time dot gm time, and then I have to pass the JSON data here, which is the seconds. So I'll write JSON data under the sys inside, it was in sunrise. Alright, and we have to add or subtract a certain amount of value according to our time zone. For example, my time zone is GMT plus 6, so in that case I have to minus the 6 hours from the time. So 6 hours equals to 21,600 seconds, so I'll just minus 21,600. And similarly for the sunset, I'll use the same, just copy this and I'll paste it here. I'll change the sunrise into sunset, and there also sunset. Alright, now we can define two strings to carry all the data as our wish. So I'll write final info equals, here at first I want to show the current condition and the current temperature in a larger font and the other data in some smaller fonts. So for the final info, I'll store the condition, I'll add a new line here, and then I'll pass the temperature in string format, str temp, and next to it I'll add the degree Celsius symbol. That's it. Now I'll define another string final data equals, here I'll add the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature first. So at first I am writing a new line, then I'll add the max temp. I'll just format this into string, then it is the max temp, then add a new line, then I'll add the min temp, str min temp. Again I'll add a new line, then I'll add the pressure here, I'll format this also into string, pressure, again a new line, and now it's time for the humidity. Oops. Humidity, str humidity, again a new line, and then I'll add the wind speed, str wind, then add a new line, and lastly I'll add the sunrise and the sunset time here. So for this, write sunrise equals sunrise, new line, and sunset all right. So now I can attach this final info and final data to the labels we have created. So I'll write label1 dot config, and here I'll set the text to final info, and then the label2 dot config, I'll set the text to final data. Alright, and one thing what I want is whenever the user will enter a city name and hit enter button, it will load the weather info of that particular city. So for this I'll write text field dot bind, and here I'll add return, and on every hit I'm going to call the get weather function. Alright, and here I'll pass the canvas. Alright, so that's our application. Let's run this, and as you can see it's asking for the city name. So if I write Dhaka, it's showing me the weather condition of Dhaka. If I write Delhi, it will show me the weather condition of Delhi, and if I write London, it will show me the condition of London. Similarly, you can easily find any city's weather information like Berlin, Lahore. So yes, that's how we can simply create a weather application. But in case you want to start the input from the center of the screen, you can easily write inside here justify equals center. So now it will start from the center, so you can write easily and get the weather info. So that was it, and thank you all for watching.